Welcome to the Founders Odyssey podcast, where we educate, inspire, and create a supportive environment for you founders out there. Today, we are creating our Female Founders series, where we feature some of the most powerful, driven, and respected women in the entrepreneurial community. Starting off this series will be somebody I have had the distinct pleasure of getting to know deeply for 11 years. Her desire to implement positive change, educate the masses about habit change, mindset, wellness, and create lifelong transformations for everybody she works with, Lacey Byrd is a powerful woman on a mission to empower and transform those she works with to becoming a higher performing individual. Having served thousands of clients, Lacey is the co-founder of Hybrid Athlete Training, a lifestyle company helping people transform their mind and body and perform at the most optimal level. She works with CEOs, executives, and entrepreneurs who have a growth mindset and are willing to do whatever it takes to achieve their goals. Welcome to the show today, Lacey. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome to hear. Well, hey, let's just dive right into it. So, what got you started in business, number one? And then also, what got you started in fitness and health?
Well, fitness and health, I grew up playing sports and it was kind of always my outlet. And I just fell in love with the ability to really push myself and see myself achieve things that I didn't realize was possible. And then I made the correlation between the athletics and sports and then life, and how when you push yourself daily mentally, that translates to doing things that are uncomfortable in life as well and continuing to grow. And then in business, it kind of just naturally progressed to that point because, I started training in a box gym, which and it wasn't very fulfilling because I wasn't able to fully coach and train the way that I wanted to. It was all about numbers and quotas and deadlines, and it didn't really fill my cup the way that it does now. And I just really wanted to, I had in my mind this ideal version of what I was doing where I could fill my cup and be able to still travel, but still be able to impact and help others with something that comes so natural to me and is such a gift.
So, about your burning desire to become better and to, get out of an uncomfortable situation that you may have been in, tell me a little bit about that past of yours and how it has propelled you to push forward and also to inspire others. Tell me a little bit more about that past history and how it fuels you today.
Well, growing up, there was a lot of um, unpleasant circumstances, and there were a lot of things that were out of my control. And there were a lot of times where I felt like I didn't have control of my situation or my life or my circumstances. I was in and out of foster homes. I would be pulled out of the home and the life that I was living and thrown into a new family, new life, new school, new everything. And it just felt like I didn't have any kind of sturdy grounding or anything that was constant in my life. And so it really propelled me to want to have control over my life. And it was unhealthy for a while because I was just anxious and stressed about everything, and like anything that I didn't have control over, I felt very stressed out about. But I feel like I'm moving into a place, and there's more balance that has come over the last several years of having that control and being able to design the life that I do want to live. I see my past circumstances as a blessing for sure, because it has given me a reason to be intentional about my life, and it has given me the contrast of, what I don't want. And so I'm able to paint a picture of what I do want, and it really has propelled me to be very intentional about every single day about what my habits are, what I'm doing, because around me too, I saw others in similar situations to me, going towards, I feel like at every everything big in life, there's a crossroads, and every decision, you can either face it head on or you can escape it. And I saw so many people, and I just observed them going towards the escape it route, whether it was drugs, alcohol, unhealthy relationships, always just trying to escape it. And I saw the natural consequences that brought to them, and I just observed that, and I realized that I didn't want that because, there's the saying discipline equals freedom, and I feel like that's so true because the freedom comes from not being trapped by the consequences of your poor decisions. When you're not living disciplined and when you're not having structure and being intentional about the decisions that you are making, then you're making decisions based on instant gratification or what feels good in the moment, or just not even making a decision. And then those always have natural consequences, which is where people tend to feel trapped in their life by whether it's being overweight, being addicted to something, being in a negative relationship, being in a job that they hate, whatever it is, it comes from either a lack of making decisions or making the wrong decisions.
Tell me a little bit more about the control that you said there earlier. That was really something that I've seen in your life, and then how you work with your clients daily. But speak to the women and also the men out there today about maintaining, but also creating habitual ways that will allow you to better control your circumstances, surroundings, mindset as you start to build your future life.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen a lot of my little hacks and tricks, but I am a huge believer in 1% growth daily. It's really easy to get discouraged when you're not making huge gains and huge strides, and you can feel overwhelmed like you're not going anywhere. I track everything, and I have daily checklists of micro habits, so habits that are anything from 1 to 30 minutes of my day. And those are really ideal to insert into your day because, especially with health, right? I work with a lot of people with improving their health. That's where we start. Yes, we end up improving all aspects of their life, but we start with their health because the way you do one thing is the way you do all things, and that starts with the standard that you hold yourself to, what you're doing when nobody else is watching, how you're holding yourself accountable. And really, what we do is we focus on that 1% growth rule. I mean, a lot of people, they'll come to the start line, they'll get super motivated, and I know we were just talking about this, but they'll be fueled off of solely just motivation or inspiration, and then they have no real strategy for how they're going to do it. They just start, and then they are like a racehorse on the start line. They go and they either say it's with fitness, they go to the gym and they're just like doing hours of cardio, they're working super hard, they drop their caloric intake, they're trying to get results tomorrow. When the reality is they didn't get to where they're at overnight, yet they're trying to change where they're at overnight. And the problem with that is it overwhelms your frontal cortex. It makes the decision-making part of your brain, it overwhelms it, so it takes over your life. Right? Rather than subtly starting to change your life, it takes over your life, and you're not able to maintain this new life and your current life. You still have your job, you still have your family, you still have your kids, you still have all these other responsibilities, and you're trying to now be this, athlete that's working out 3 hours a day and eating like, it doesn't work. But if instead you can start with making your bed, and then you can start with mobility exercises, breathing exercises, starting to make small changes to your nutrition, and then you start compounding those. And when you do that, you take your focus away from the end result, and you're so ingrained in the process, and you start falling in love with the process. And that's what I've really seen is the difference that, I see in my clients where they say, oh, I've tried everything. I've been trying to lose weight. I've been trying to get healthy for years. Now I'm on all these medications, whatever. And when I really break it down, it's they're focused on their small wins that most people wouldn't even think about. They're trying to lose weight. They're trying to get off medications. That's all they're thinking about. But they're completely missing, man, a lot of my knee pain is going find a way. My shoulders aren't hurting. I'm standing up straighter. I'm actually holding my core in. Man, my digestion is good. A lot of the inflammation's going down. There's a whole process along the way to that result. And I think people really focus in on the end result, which is why they aren't able to actually end up getting there. They get a little ways, they get burnt out, they start over, or get discouraged and don't start at all. So I think the key to real change in myself and what I've seen in so many other clients is breaking it down into the small micro habits daily. And then accountability is huge. So having somebody that can hold you accountable and having somebody that you can check in with is so important. And then making sure to reflect on the small wins. So that's something that I've been doing daily, is reflecting on what did I accomplish today, because it can often happen where you get to the end of the day and you're just burnt out and tired and you're like, did I even do anything, right? But when you actually sit and break down your day and you look at, man, okay, I did move the needle forward today. And then you really reflect on it and then you design exactly what you're going to accomplish tomorrow. It takes your focus away from that like future goal that you're trying to achieve, and it brings you into the present. It brings you into the process of achieving that goal. Because I believe when you do that, you're going to far surpass what that goal ever was, because you're actually moving versus just sitting there paralyzed staring at where you're not.
Yeah, I've seen that too. That's really, really good. I know you've been reading a book, The Gap and the Gain by Ben Hardy. Share with everyone out there a little bit about the gap and the gain and how that plays a large factor in your personal life, but also how now you're able to share that with others to help them live a high-performance lifestyle.
Yeah, that was one of the books that I read in November, and that was another thing, is on my daily checklist. I had, rather than saying I'm going to read 8 books in November, I broke it down to I'm going to read 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes a day, and that became one of my check marks. So it was just, no matter what, I was doing that, and I ended up reading 8 books. And the effect of reading those 8 books on my life and my internal dialogue and my mindset and the way that I'm setting goals and everything, it's something that I couldn't have set a goal for at the beginning of the month, because I grew so much, and I think that's important. One of those books was The Gap and the Gain by Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan, and I see this so much. I really do. Even in people close to me, I see it a lot, and I know we talked about this, but the gap in the gain is their philosophy, and it's so true. But in entrepreneurs and high achievers especially, what happens is people will tend to focus on where they're not. They'll tend to get caught up in this, chasing the horizon, right? So you're like you're in the desert and you're looking at the horizon, but you're also moving forward, so that horizon is always moving. So you're constantly looking forward at, when I achieve this, I'll be happy. When I get to there, when I do this, when I that, right? And you're constantly chasing, and you're not even living in the present. You're not even reflecting on all of the things that you have done or what you have accomplished. So you're living in a state of unfulfillment. You're never feeling like you've accomplished anything because you're always chasing what's in front of you. And that's living in the gap. You're chasing what's in front of you and you're not reflecting on what you've gained. And so the gain is when you're looking back and you're saying, what have I accomplished? What have I done? And you're always living in that balance of, what have I done? What's next? What have I done? What's next? And I think that's so important to bring you into the present, because life is today. Life is right now. Life isn't next year, and you can't just put aspects of your life on hold while you're chasing the end result of something, because there is no end result. Like, you might have it, and this is, I think I told you this, but you might like achieve it for 1 second, but then all of a sudden, like, life is like a conveyor belt. Like, you're still moving, and so you might have it for 1 second, but then there's like new goals and new things, and you're never going to be like, okay, I achieved everything, like now I can just relax and live my life. If you're in that mentality and you're living in that mindset, you're going to continue living in that mindset regardless of what you accomplish, because you're never taking the time to reflect on what you did accomplish and what you have done and say, man, like, I'm kind of crushing it. Good job.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I know that's really important, certainly as an entrepreneur. And, and you're on your journey out there, and it seems that you want to get to the mountaintop tomorrow. I've felt that way personally sometimes, and it's these incremental steps, like you're saying, that are so important for you to gain momentum, right? And then also gain motivation. So speak to motivation a little bit. Speak about intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. And also in the clients that you have worked with, I mean, keep in mind these are high-performing CEOs, executives, right? What do they do in order to maintain this level of performance? And what's the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation?
So, intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation, first of all, is extrinsic motivation is when you are doing something for an outside reward. So, whether it's you're doing it to be accepted by someone else, you're doing it to receive a trophy or an award or some kind of accolade, you're doing it because you're going to get money, whatever your reason is, it's something external that is driving you and motivating you. Intrinsic motivation, and this is the first step that I work on with clients, is taking their motivation from extrinsic to intrinsic. And I do that through several different exercises before we ever even start. And intrinsic motivation is when you truly desire to see what you are capable of. Like you want to see what you can do. And a lot of the time, I mean, I feel like we live in a world where it's, how little do I need to do to get by, right? And that's kind of the mentality. Like what, the new 6-minute ab exercise that's going to give you a 6-pack. And it's like, what little do I need to do to get my goal, rather than I want to see how much I can accomplish. I want to see how much I can do in this finite amount of time that I have on this planet, because we don't know. I mean, it could be tomorrow. It could be 10 years from now. It could be 100. We don't know how long we have. All we have is today. And so if you are living in a place of trying to please other people or just trying to earn things and material goods and whatnot, it's never going to fulfill you the way that intrinsic motivation will, where you are really taking pride in yourself and you're really taking pride in what your mission is here on this planet. Why am I here, right? And that comes down to, I'm going back to school, and my goal is to get my PhD. And the crazy thing is, that's been my goal for over 15 years, but because of the, things that were happening during my teen years and during, I was in and out of the foster homes and there was a lot going on there, I didn't finish. And so for the last 10 years, I've been sitting here feeling like, man, I wish I would have finished, almost a sense of victimization of man, I got cut short in life. I didn't get to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And then I'm like, what am I doing? I'm here now and I'm going to make it happen. And so that's another thing. And I think getting clear on also extrinsic motivation, a part of that is, we're constantly comparing ourselves to others, right? And so we look at somebody else's snapshot of their life and what they're accomplishing, and they look happy on Instagram, so maybe I need to accomplish that in order to be happy. And I think the reality is, what really is going to make us feel fulfilled and happy is fully living our life, being present in the moment, feeling grateful for what we have, but then working towards our goals and dreams. And I think those are very personal to us, but we lose sight of them because we're so focused on what everybody else is doing and what's making them happy. So there's these different versions of ourselves, and we realize, why am I even doing this? Why am I even climbing that mountain, right? It's not even important to me, but we're doing it because we're keeping up with, the Joneses or the Kardashians or whoever else, right?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I know you've worked with so many different people now, and I wanna ask you, what's the difference between someone that is just doing enough to get by, and then speak to the client that is just crushing it?
I have actually 2 people right now who started they started on the same day with me, and both of them are CEOs. They run their own businesses, and they're in the same industry, and they are about 8 years apart in age, but they are, like I said, they both started on the same day. They're both very high achievers. They're both very driven males, and they're doing very well in their business. But the more I dove into where they're at in life, I uncovered a lot about how they put so much focus into their business that other aspects of their life are not going so well. Their relationships, their health, spending quality time with their families, things like that, they've been neglected. And so now they're in a place where they're like, what I know really well is business. Well, this area is kind of uncomfortable for me, my health, this. And so both of them are on a few different medications for chronic illnesses, which 1 in 3 people die of a chronic disease in America, and 80% are preventable. So if that doesn't tell you the kind of world we're living in right now, where it really comes down to your choices, 80% are preventable, yet 1 in 3 people are dying. 80%. So the majority of them, it comes down to being preventable based on their daily decisions, daily actions, how they're living their life, yet why aren't people able to do it? So these 2 men, they started same day. One of them, all excited, motivated, and you know this story, but one of them is all excited and motivated. The other one is very focused and level-headed when they start. I give them their checklists. I give them their homework. I break it down. I do their physical assessments with them, give them their first steps with their nutrition, give them what to do in their morning routine, their evening routine, etc. And client A is literally he sends in his homework on time every week. He does all of the steps required of him. He is showing up to his calls. He's scheduling them. He's asking questions when he has them. Client B is, I have to reach out to him about 4 times before he ever even responds. He basically doesn't really take it seriously. Although they're in the same health situation, they both know their health is an issue right now. One of them is almost acting like it's a joke and kind of fits it in when he has time. And the other one is showing up and doing the daily steps. These 2 people start on the exact same day. And client A he just messaged me and he's already down 4 pant sizes. And he's feeling good. And he got past the beginning stage of it being uncomfortable, making changes into your lifestyle, having to get over that hurdle of starting something new, even though it's uncomfortable. And I say that's a growth mindset. Client B can't get past that discomfort of starting something new and has that fixed mindset. So he stays in his current situation and hasn't made any progress since day 1 because he doesn't show up, he doesn't do the tasks in front of him, right? So it comes down to that growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. Somebody who says, I'm terrible at this is totally foreign to me, but I'm going to do my best and my best is going to keep getting better. And I believe that when you have that mindset, any aspect of your life, it doesn't matter what obstacle is placed in front of you, you're going to overcome it. Whereas the other mindset, having a fixed mindset, is saying, I've always had this problem, nothing's ever worked, I will always have this problem, so I'm not even going to try.
No, that's good. Speak to us about goals, okay, because the new year is coming up and a lot of people are going to be searching. It happens every year. You out there, I know you are always, there's a lot of people that are searching for these things. And tell us what's your theory about goals and how to set them. I know you said incremental steps and things like that, but what's your perspective on goals?
So, first of all, going back to what I just said previously, I think it's really important to know what your goals are, not what you think your goals should be, based on what other people's goals are, what other people are doing. And I think it's really important to get in tune with what are the things on your heart that you want to accomplish in your life. You only get one shot. You only get one life. You only get one chance. And like I said, you never know how long that's actually going to be. So how do you want to spend your time? If you're going to invest the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years of your life into something, you want it to be something that you're passionate about. And your goals are always going to evolve and change. So I think, first of all, it's really important before you ever set a goal to go into it with that mindset of, what do I want my future to look like? Not, where do I feel like I'm falling short, and what are other people doing? And what does it look like makes them happy? I think it's really important to get extremely focused inward on, what do I want to achieve and accomplish? And this is actually something I'm doing with all of my lifestyle clients right now. And we created a dream journal. So this is something that I did first, and you've seen mine. But basically what you do is for 2 to 4 weeks straight every morning. And I really recommend doing this right after a workout, because that's when you are in a peak mental and physical state, and you're not thinking with limiting fear or limiting beliefs, doubts, fears. You're literally like confident. Your confidence is up, your endorphins are up, your cortisol is low, and you're focused, right? I mean, you know how that feels right after a workout. What you need to do is write down your 10 life goals. What are these 10 things that you right now want to accomplish in your life? Who you are today. What do you want to accomplish in your life? And then the next day, you do the same thing. But the key is you don't look back at the day before and be like, what was number 7 again, right? You write down the 10 that are on your heart and on your mind that day. And you allow yourself to let your dreams evolve. You allow yourself to let your dreams fade away. Maybe something wasn't super important to you. Maybe something was really important to you, and you started to get more confident in the way that you saw it, and it started to evolve and expand. And doing that every day for 2 to 4 weeks. Then what you do is you look back over the past 30 days or 14 days, and you look at, what are the ones that are really standing out? What is the one that I was thinking about every single day? And you pull those out and you look at, man, like, this is something I'm thinking about every single day, yet I'm not taking any action on it. And so then what I do is I cut out a very specific visual of what that goal is, and I paste that in the front of the journal. And then on the next page, I write down exactly what it's going to take to achieve that goal and a date that I want to have it done by. So that means, how much is it going to cost? Who do I need to talk to? What are some prerequisites or steps that I need to take in order to get to that goal? And that whole journal that I have is, every day I'm doing 2 to 3 things to move those goals and dreams forward. And I feel like a lot of the time, going back to what I previously said, people get so disconnected from their goals. They say, oh, I want to do that, like almost like they're talking to a genie, and then they don't move forward on it at all. It's not even part of their daily life. But I think it's so important to get so clear and visualize. And I mean, I know you saw, like, I've been designing our home that we're going to be moving into, and just getting so clear on what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like, how it's going, like, what that's going to be. And then you make it part of your daily life, and then it's almost inevitable that you're going to achieve it. Versus just, oh, I would like to do that one day, or one day I want to do that, and it's just all talk, but there's no action backing it up and moving it forward.
Yeah, as we know, we've heard of SMART goals before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And those, for those out there, if you haven't done that, definitely do it now. Speak to the female founder out there who has got a lot on her plate. She's trying to provide for the family, but then she's also maybe stepping outside of who she really is and losing that confidence, right? Mm-hmm. You've experienced this with a lot of the females that you've worked with that are high performers. So speak to those females out there that you can still have what you want.
Yeah, I think a lot of the women that I work with, and this is it's a big difference between the men and the women that I work with. The women, what tends to happen is they're so focused on, work and business goals and family and relationship, and they're taking care of everybody else around them, and they end up putting themselves on the back burner. And one thing that I really firmly believe in is, you can only give what you have. And so if you're outpouring You're constantly outpouring to the people around you, plus you're building a business and growing all this, and you feel drained all the time because you're not filling your own cup. You're going to burn out, or worse, you're leaving so much on the table, right? Women are powerful. I mean, women can really organize things in their head and really break things up and compartmentalize them. And what happens is this lack of confidence because they're not feeding themselves and they're not doing the things daily that they need to do to make themselves feel powerful. And I think that is so important because when you take a step back as a woman, especially if you have a family and you're working and you have a spouse and you have all these other things that you're trying to manage, if you take a step back and you say, I need to focus on filling my cup, and that becomes your priority, you're going to overflow to those people around you rather than you trying to fill their cup on a drained, empty cup, right? So you're trying to outpour something that's not even there. You're frustrated, you're burnt out, and you're trying to change the people around you or fix them or help them or whatever, but you're not even fixing yourself. So I think it's really important to take that step back and really focus in on yourself. Do the things daily that make you show up as your best possible self. And for me, that's my morning routine, which it's I don't take calls. I don't talk to anybody before then because I don't know what'll come out of my mouth. Like, I need to get my mind right. I need to get everything right so that I can show up and keep that energy sustained, because it's not effective if you sprint for 2 years, 3 years, and then burn out and then you're frustrated and unhappy. It's about maintaining that performance level. And I think really it's filling your cup. And a lot of times there can come guilt with that, of feeling, and this is something I see with a lot of women, especially moms, is they feel a lot of guilt with spending time on themselves, yet they're trying to run a business, they're married, and they have kids. And they're doing all that while they're operating at like 60%. They're worn out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They're tired, they're ragged, they're burnt out, and because they're not taking care of themselves. And when they do take that step back, they notice, man, their kids are really looking up to them differently. Their spouse is starting to get on board with this. And all these changes that they've been trying to make are actually starting to happen because they focused in on taking care of themselves.
So important. Let's touch on the hybrid athlete training. And I know you've had significant growth within the last year. Let's talk a little bit about the growth. Let's talk about Hybrid, the app, because there's an actual app here, and this is a tech-based founders podcast. So we're excited to really highlight a little bit of Hybrid and how you really have systematized your offering for people.
Yeah, so Hybrid, I mean, first of all, I was training in person, and then when things started kicking up with COVID and the gym started closing down and we weren't able to really do that, I kind of immediately transitioned online. And it started with one client, and I just had one client, and I poured into that client 100%. And at that time, I was using email and like PDF documents, and it was very, I guess now when I look back at that, it was like Flintstone age, but I mean, it was still online. But I didn't really know what I was doing, but I knew, okay, I'm going to give this client 110% of what I have. And that client then sent me referrals. And then every time there were more people in front of me, I just focused in on refining my system and giving 110%. And I kept growing with the people that were in front of me. And that transitioned into, I kind of set my max capacity for one-on-one clients. And I said, okay, once I hit this number, that's my max capacity. And I hit that number within about a month and a half, I believe. And then what I found was that's when I transitioned onto the app, and that's when we started getting that software involved. And I had a lot of requests from those clients of, well, do I stay with you one-on-one forever? Like, what do I do after this? And that's when I started having the membership for the Lifestyle and the Lifestyle Plus for those clients who initially worked with me one-on-one. They wanted to continue having access to the programming, but they didn't need all of the one-on-one help that they do in the beginning, because I'm a huge firm believer in when I work with somebody one-on-one, I don't want to work with them forever. I want to give them the tools to be able to have that intrinsic motivation
That's good.
and give them the tools to be able to drive the vehicle of their own health and their own decisions. And I've seen it so much in my past 10 years in the fitness industry. I've seen so many trainers and clients having this unhealthy codependent relationship where the client relies on the trainer and they like won't do anything without them, and they need to work out with somebody watching them and babysitting them, and then the trainer needs the client for a paycheck. So for years they're working with the same people getting nowhere, and I'm a very results driven person, and so for me, I developed, and that kind of evolved into my curriculum for my foundations programs of I developed a curriculum of somebody starting out, and what my training style is, it's more of education. It's educating people because, we all have a body, yet none of us came with a user manual. So why should those who haven't taken all of the schooling and education and courses and certifications, why should they have to be unhealthy for their whole life because they don't understand how to take care of their body? And so for me, I developed that foundation program which teaches them about how their body works, because I see so much today. People are confused. They're confused. I hear high fat, low fat, high carb, low carb, paleo, keto, intermittent fasting. What do I do? Do I eat a lot? Do I eat a little? And people get so confused. And so, through all that, if they understood how their body actually worked, they would be able to sift through all that information and understand what actually makes sense. And so for me, that's what I really felt like was important to create and educate people on how their body actually works. How do you actually build the physique that you want? Making them a part of the process rather than just chasing the result blindly and relying on somebody like, hopefully this person knows what they're doing. And so when they start understanding the information for themselves, what I found psychologically was that is the key to real change. I could tell somebody you need to eat 4 Brussels sprouts with half a chicken breast for dinner, and they're like, okay, that's like really specific, but I'm going to do it. But then 2 weeks later, they're like in one ear and out the other, they're back to what they were doing because they don't understand why they were doing what they were doing. If instead they understand the way that you build muscle and why it's important to have a balance of fiber and protein together and how much your body needs and how you should feel, then they start to get into it and they want to take pride in their body. They want to take care of it. And so that's kind of the transition. So once I maxed out on one-on-one clients, I started doing small groups of this 8-week educational course. And I was teaching these people how to take care of their body, how to build it. And then what would happen is these people would graduate from the foundations courses. It was a max of 10 people per group, and it was 8 weeks. We met every week. Their exercises were foundational, so my programming is corrective and functional. So we focus on corrective exercise, correcting muscle imbalances and movement compensations, and then building a functional body that is working how it was designed to work. They're understanding nutrition, graduate into the lifestyle programming. So now what we have today is we have a few other trainers that are working with me as well. And all of those trainers went through my programming as well, and they started with me one-on-one. They kept, growing and building, and then they wanted to be a part and help others as well, so they got certified. And now what we have is we have 2 different memberships, so Lifestyle Plus. Lifestyle is you have access to all the programming, the community. Every day you have access to your calendar in the app. It tracks your progress. It tracks everything. And then the Lifestyle Plus, you have a coach that's assigned to you. They're programming your macronutrients, and they're helping you with modifications, checking in with you each week. And then we have options for one-on-one as well to really help those who need specific programming, more accountability, that kind of thing.
Sounds like a lot, but it looks like you know exactly what you're doing, and there's quite a few people that are helping you along this process. Share with me what you're excited about mostly here in the new year, and what have you really been focused on?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm most excited about right now is, starting school to get my PhD in the new year, because what I'm really excited about is to enhance what I'm already doing and bring more meat to what I'm doing to help people really change their lifestyle and help them really make big changes in their lives. And I'm excited to bring that into not just high performers who are running the companies, but we also just started corporate wellness programs, which I'm really excited about because we're bringing these teams together and we're creating a healthy culture and healthy environment, because it's so important. Like they say, you're the people that you're around, you're like the 5 people that you're around the most, and you're around the people that you work with and your family and whoever's at home the most. And so when you can create that healthy culture environment, you're getting so much more done, and you're having so much more joy. Too many people are miserable at work, they're stressed out, they're burnt out, and they're not taking care of themselves. So that's what I'm the most excited about.
Well, we just want to say thank you so much for joining us today on the Founders Odyssey podcast, where we help to inspire, educate, and create a supportive environment for all of you founders out there. Tune in to our next episode and also subscribe to this channel if you like it.